Hello, learners. All too soon, we have come to another beautiful week. We are in our week 10. We thank God so much for how far He has brought us. Before we proceed, last week we looked at some speed tests, and I must say that most of you scored 10 out of 10. It was a great attempt. But those who did not submit their work to me, they should still do it and then take a picture and send it to me. Because those who did it, I have gone through it and I've sent their marks to them. So kindly do yours and then forward it to me. Let me assess it. Now we are still on our substrand, that is earth science. And under earth science today, we're going to look at functions of carbon within the environment. Functions of carbon within the environment. I hope you have heard the word carbon dioxide before. Carbon dioxide. Okay. So where did you hear it? And where do we get this carbon from? So these are some of the things we're going to look at today. Please pay attention and join me. Some keywords we have to look at today are carbon, carbon dioxide, coal, graphite, environment, oxygen. Let's say it again. Carbon, carbon dioxide, coal, graphite, environment, and then oxygen. I would like you to look for the meaning of these 5 keywords. Please look for the meaning of these 5 keywords. So write it and then you find the meaning of them. Very important. All right. So in basic 5, we learned that air is a mixture of gases such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, and nitrogen. The carbon dioxide in the air is made up of both carbon and oxygen gases. So 1 part carbon and 2 parts oxygen. Now, when you look at carbon dioxide, the dioxide, di means 2. So 1 carbon and 2 oxide, which is coming together. So we say air is a mixture of gases. Yes, I think some few weeks back, I gave you the composition of air. We said air is a mixture of gases and then it consists of nitrogen, something percent, oxygen, something percent, carbon dioxide, something percent, argon, something percent. I hope you remember that note is in your notes. So though carbon dioxide is present in very small proportion, that is about 0.03% in the atmosphere, it performs very important functions as mentioned below. So we are going to look at some functions that carbon dioxide actually perform in our environment. All the compositions of air actually give something to the environment and they all have their various functions. So today we are going to look at carbon dioxide. Good. I believe you know that plants need carbon dioxide so much for photosynthesis. Without carbon dioxide, it will be difficult for plants to prepare their own food because that is the only gas they need to be able to prepare their own food through the process of photosynthesis. So, the major suppliers of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. So these 5 points are the major sources of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, where carbon dioxide is actually gotten from or where it is coming from. into the atmosphere. So the first point we have here is volcanic eruptions. And these volcanic eruptions happen when lava and gas emit from volcanic vents. And I would like you to Google volcano or volcanic eruptions, and you will see how volcano happens. It's a very interesting scene. The second point is respiration by living organisms. Every living organism respire, like human beings or animals. Yes, so as we respire, as we breathe in and breathe out, we breathe out carbon dioxide. That is as a result of carbon dioxide almost everywhere in the atmosphere. So as we respire, living organisms respire, they release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And the third point is decay of organisms. Decay. So when organisms die, perhaps animals die in the forest and then they decay into the soil, yes, they have some kind of carbon dioxide in them. There's an amount of carbon dioxide. You know, human beings breathe out carbon dioxide. So, and animals as well breathe out carbon dioxide. So when they die and decay, definitely there's an amount of carbon dioxide in them. So we can get carbon dioxide from decay of organisms. The fourth point, burning of fossil fuels. So fossil fuels like crude oil, petroleum gases, diesel, yes, there's an amount of carbon dioxide in these fossil fuels. So carbon dioxide also comes from this angle as well. And the fifth point is cultivation of land. Cultivation of land. So when the land is being cultivated, yes, an amount of carbon dioxide also emits from that angle as well. So the 5 point volcanic eruptions, respiration by living organisms, decay of organisms, burning of fossil fuels, and then cultivation of land. I want you to pay attention to these points. Carbon dioxide is very important to plants and animals. Plants use carbon dioxide and water to prepare their own food through a process known as photosynthesis, which I have earlier on spoke about. Human beings and animals breathe out carbon dioxide during respiration, and then carbon dioxide is used to prepare mineral water and soft drinks such as Coca-Cola and Sprite to make them fizzy. So what is fizzy? You see that mostly when you open Coca-Cola, you use your opener and then you turn it up. You hear this poof sound. Good. So carbon dioxide is actually used in preparation of these canned drinks and these bottled drinks to be able to make them fizzy, to keep them from spoiling and other stuffs. And then the fifth point, carbon dioxide is also used in fire extinguishers to put out fire, which is very, very true. Mostly when you see fire extinguishers, this inscription is written on it, CO2, CO2. The C stands for carbon, and then O2 means dioxide. Di means, I told you di is what? Two. So two oxygens. So one carbon, CO2, one carbon, two oxygens. So mostly when you see fire extinguishers, this inscription is written on it. So anytime you see fire extinguisher with CO2 written on it, it means that yes, carbon dioxide is used in making this fire extinguisher. So I have explained these points already as to how carbon gets into the environment. So let me read through this quickly, but I don't expect you to write it. Just keep them. So carbon is a gas that can be found all around us in our environment. When carbon is attached to oxygen, it is called carbon dioxide. I have mentioned that plants use carbon dioxide and sunlight to make their food. This is how carbon becomes part of plants. So the carbon in plants move into human beings and animals when they eat fruits, vegetables, and plant leaves such as contomere. So this is very important. Human beings eat plants. We eat a variety of plants, contomere, vegetables, fruits, and these fruits and other leaves contain carbon dioxide because they use carbon dioxide to prepare their food. So they actually attract carbon dioxide. So if contomere leaf attract carbon dioxide and we eat it as human beings, that is why we bring out carbon dioxide because we eat it and it's inside of us. So we breathe out carbon dioxide and take in oxygen from plants after preparing their food. The fourth point, when plants, animals, and other living things die and buried in the soil for a long time, they begin to decay, and there is an amount of carbon in such decayed animals. After some millions of years, the decayed parts of plants and animals turn into fossil fuel. Yes, fossil fuel includes coal, oil, and gas containing carbon. The carbon in fossil fuels move into our environment when they are mined and burnt to produce most of the things we use. So what materials in our environment contain carbon? So there are a lot of materials in our environment that contain carbon. And I would like you to do this exercise for me. You are to go on a nature walk. Now, this nature walk can be around your gate. It can even be around the house. And I want you to observe the following materials in your environment. So let's observe the materials. We have pencil, a bottle of Coke, a cup of water, we have plastic bottle, a piece of wood, an orange tree, an inflated balloon, charcoal, and textile. Good. So these materials that I have mentioned, this is what you're going to do. You are going to sort them into items containing carbon and those that do not. So which of these materials contain carbon and which of them do not contain carbon? So you can do it in the form of a table. Okay, items containing carbon and then items that do not contain carbon on the other side so that you sort them out and let me see your understanding. Functions of carbon in materials found within the environment. So carbon, the first point we're going to look at where we can find carbon is the pencil. Now the lead in pencils we use to write is made from graphite. Graphite contains carbon. Graphite is also used for making batteries and it is a good conductor of electricity. So you see the pencil in your picture and every other pencil. Yes, there's an amount of carbon in the pencil because graphite is used in making pencil and graphite contains carbon. So take notice of that. The second point, Charcoal. The charcoal we use for cooking is made up of carbon, so which is very important. Carbon. Why is it made up of carbon? Yes, trees actually need carbon dioxide to prepare their own food. So, in the result of attracting carbon dioxide, they end up installing into them a lot of carbon, which makes them one of the sources where actually we get carbon from. So the charcoal we use for cooking is made up of carbon. The third point, food. Food is what gives us the energy to do our daily activities. Almost all the foods we eat contain carbon. Carbon helps in the digestion of food in our body. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is described as one of the greenhouse gases that traps heat from the sun in the atmosphere. Without greenhouse gases, the surface of the earth would be very cold. So carbon dioxide is described as a greenhouse gas that traps the heat from the sun in the atmosphere. So this gas actually does something very good for the whole earth. Now, carbon dioxide is mostly found in trees. That is why it is important that when we cut down trees, we replace them by replanting. That is afforestation. If we do not do that, the the rays of the sun will hit directly on the surface of the earth, which depletes the ozone layer, which causes greenhouse effects. So carbon dioxide is able to trap the heat from the sun in the atmosphere. And it's one of the good ways carbon dioxide could help the earth. Fuel. Fuel. Carbon is used in the production of fuel. Petrol and diesel that are used to fuel vehicles and machines are gotten from carbon. Most of the drugs that we take when we are not too well, yes, carbon is added to other elements to produce medicines, that is drugs. So in the pharmaceutical industries, we use carbon together with other elements to produce medicines for our health. Car tires. Car tires. It is used in the production of car tires. Carbon is what makes the car tire black. Yes, and then finally, fire extinguisher. Carbon in addition with oxygen, as carbon dioxide, is used in the preparation of fire extinguishers. So when you look at this fire extinguisher in your picture, you can see CO2, that is carbon dioxide. And fire extinguishers are used in either quenching fire, yes, or stopping fire. So we will end here. There is a quick activity on the next slide. Kindly do it and forward it to me for assessment. So here we are, activity. So you have 3 questions. State any 4 sources of carbon dioxide. 2. The lead in pencils we use for writing is made from dash. Mention any 5 materials we use carbon in making them. Thank you and bye for now.